This has been an ongoing problem for nearly 2 years now, and the more I think about it, the more I am disgusted. If you watch any WWE-related products, you may have seen a show called NXT, which doesn't stand for anything, and have to put up with the headache known as the fans being in quotation marks. They'll dance, they'll sing, they'll chant, they'll do anything but actually soak in the matches and storylines that WWE tries to produce, and there are many people that think this is acceptable. They think they're being clever and cool by being a sideshow in front of the hard camera. While it's a good thing that the crowds are actually cheering for who they like, however, they really suck the fun out of the NXT experience and ruin things for the audience that watches digitally. It's irritable. Number 1. They're annoying as hell. They're loud, they're obnoxious, and they're enough to make any Vince Russo turn the show off. There's being lively and passionate, and then there's being absolutely over the edge. Sports fans aren't like this. When you go to a baseball game, they don't chant for every player at bat and hum their walkout music. When you see a movie, you don't see the people around you chant for each character. Why should this be any different? Your cheering, your signs, and especially your wallets, are far enough. There's a huge difference between energetic and annoying, passionate and irritating, being a fan, and being a dick. Number 2. They'll cheer for bad ideas. They'll cheer for anybody. Anybody can be over, and that's a problem. From Bo Dallas and The Ascension, to Adam Rose and Tyler Breeze, they all picked desperate gimmicks, and like the suckers they are, the crowds will go nuts over them, only for those gimmicks to flop hard when put in front of a casual audience. WWE officials see NXT and go, "Oh, they're over, they'll do fine," going by how the NXT crowds react, and then meet flat crowd reactions on the main roster because they're not the same crowds. Hardly ever do NXT crowds really analyze a character to determine whether or not they would like them to succeed. No way, Jose. Do you honestly think that this character would get over on Monday Night Raw? Number 3. They don't respect the talent. Honestly, they don't. There are matches and promos that turn out to be awkward all because of how obnoxious the crowds can be. Ty Dillinger's over, and while I'm not trying to take anything away from Dillinger, the objective wasn't to get Dillinger over, but to make Andrade Cien Almas to look like a star in his very first match at NXT TakeOver. The end, which the crowds hardly seem to understand. Remember that segment with Asuka and Bayley on that very same show? The moment Bayley showed up, those idiot fans started to chant, "Hee, we want some Bayley," like a fucking alarm or air horn going off. What if Bayley was going to say something important? Those fans couldn't hear over their screaming, and I wouldn't be able to hear even though I'm not trying to. Sometimes, similar fans will hijack Raw and chant for Kevin Owens, and months later, they'll be chanting for Sami Zayn, who doesn't yet exist on the main roster at the time. Or how about the Raw after SummerSlam weekend, at the Barclays Center, the same building that hosted TakeOver, Brooklyn and SummerSlam. Most of the same fans that couldn't wait to see women in NXT such as Paige, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch totally shit all over their matches on Raw with JBL. "We want Lesnar." "Boring." And "We are awesome" chants. What the fuck? You're not awesome, you're fucking morons and hypocrites. Number 4. They ruin the moment, and perhaps the entire show. Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance should be something special, and WWE really tries to make it so, with the flickering light, the panning of the camera, the crisp instrumentals. All of that is genuine, and all of that makes for a grand experience, up until you start hearing the chorus of 400 sets of grown man lungs like it's one big douche parade. I hate that. I didn't pay $9.99 a month to listen to hear some nerds fucking sing. If they're so loyal to NXT, why can't they just enjoy the show and bask in the experience and not act like they're all that? People can compare the NXT crowds to the ECW crowds in Philly from the 90s. The key differences are that they appreciated the action, they appreciated the talent, and they didn't try to take over the show with endless obnoxious chants. They knew who the attractions were, the men in the ring, not the men in the fucking stands. The fans can be defensive and say, "We paid for our tickets, so we can do whatever we want." So, why do you want to downgrade the quality of an otherwise great show? It's like those fans at Raw that get kicked out for dressing up as Hogan and Savage. While they did pay for their seats, their intent is terrible. Their intent was to cause a scene. Their intent was to pretend like they were part of the attraction. Their intent was to take away people's attention from the show going on in the ring and draw it to themselves. That's why they're dressed like WWE legends. That's why they bought front row seats facing the hard camera. Fans that defend this practice are ignorant. But that's a hiccup compared to Full Sail. Full Sail should actually act like a supportive crowd that enjoys the action they pay to see instead of enjoy themselves. Sit down, shut up, and embrace the fucking product you paid to see.